Welcome to the Oracle Scroll. My name is Kevin Walder and I am your host, and I invite you to join my guests and myself as we discuss all things metaphysical. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Oracle Scroll. In today's episode, we will be looking at the Emperor and all that he stands for in the tarot deck. And we will also do a brief meditation that is aimed at oneness in this fragmented world. What could possibly be more important today? And then, finally, as the closing segment of this episode, we will be answering a question from our audience. And a fellow by the name of Thomas has given us something to ponder using the tarot deck. So, let's jump right into the Emperor. The Emperor is a very powerful masculine influence. And since the major arcana cards tend to give us a lot of insight into the question at hand, they tend to set the tone for a reading and may even indicate that the question the querent is consciously decided upon is not the real question after all. In explaining the meaning of the Emperor, I compare him to the kings in the deck. All of them are fatherly figures, carrying a masculine energy which is forceful and direct. But what distinguishes the Emperor from the kings is that kings bow to the Emperor. The kings may be called upon at any time to defend their realm and their position. But the Emperor finds himself above all of that, and he's able to concentrate his energy and attention on the well-being of his subjects. Much like the Empress, the Emperor is very serious and takes his role as a nurturing parent and benefactor seriously, taking the more masculine, assertive role in teaching his children how best to carry forward his careful teaching. So, while being very connected to the future success of his subjects and descendants, he will at times be very forceful in enforcing the rules that he holds so dear. When considering how the Emperor manifests in our own lives, we must appreciate that each of us, male or female, have the capacity to act in that role. Whenever we are called upon to be decisive and firm in a course of action, which is supportive of those dear to us, we are playing the role of the Emperor. As we progress through life, we find that less and less do we have that older role model to emulate, and we find others looking to us for guidance, which means that there may be times when we are reluctantly placed in the position of being the Emperor in our own lives. The Emperor, being the ultimate father figure in the deck, will tend to represent an older male, either father, grandfather, perhaps a mentor who has influenced the situation at hand. As with most human relationships, there are negative and positive aspects to the Emperor. While his nurturing and careful supervision may provide comfort and solace, it can also become confining and restrictive if allowed to become absolute. When I see the Emperor appear in a reading, I have to take a moment to determine if he's coming through as the ultimate benefactor, or is he playing the role of tyrant in this current situation? Most of the time he's somewhere in the center, and some of his actions are questioned, but his overall intent is appreciated. I usually read the Emperor as a positive influence on the situation, a very supportive masculine energy which can help to support us when things aren't going well. The infinite caring and supportive nature of the Emperor come through for us when we need it most. It is most important to remember that while the Emperor is there to support us, he is not there to relieve us of our own responsibilities. So, the questions that the Emperor tends to pose are, how have you felt supported by a strong male influence in your life? Does this supportive and assertive energy come from someone else to you or from within yourself? Do you find yourself remembering the advice of a mentor and appreciating it in a new way? The preceding was taken directly from my book, Tarot for Lunch, Lessons from the Cards, available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com. And in keeping with what we've been doing with each of the cards that we review, we've decided to take it just a little bit further and look at the Emperor, remembering that he's an absolute ruler. The Emperor, he has no peer. And so I've devised this particular one as a press conference. We're all used to press conferences from Washington. So now we get to hear the Emperor conduct his first press conference. Now, well, let's just jump into it. The press conference is considered to be a modern accommodation of the public, allowing representatives of the press to ask questions of those in positions of power and to report their impressions. The Emperor, being an absolute ruler, is under absolutely no obligation, legally or ethically, to hold such events. But he has decided to open his office to the press in an effort to promote transparency in his government. Now note how he's done this. A lone reporter from the Capital City Gazette was allowed to ask a set of pre-screened questions of the Emperor. So even though he's opened it up to become more transparent, it's still very rigidly controlled. That's the Emperor. So we begin. The first question is, after countless decades in power, why have you chosen this occasion to hold your very first press conference? The Emperor responds, have you never heard the expression, it's lonely at the top? As an absolute ruler whose checks and balances are entirely my own, I thought you all might like to hear directly from me just what goes into the decisions I hand down. Now seemed as good a time as any to start the process. Question: how do you go about defending your singular hold on power? Emperor says, our system has worked well for us for centuries. As head of state, I make myself aware of the world around us and the many social systems we have long held to be valuable to our well-being, so that I am making the best decisions for all our people without the influence of popular opinion or hysteria. It is actually a simple, streamlined form of government, which can move quickly when necessary. Question: are there ever times when you wish there were others to share the immense responsibility of lawmaking? The Emperor responds, I can answer no, and quite emphatically, I might add, no to that quite emphatically and honestly. I was born to this position, educated in the best schools and universities, groomed and prepared from earliest childhood to take on the immense responsibility. So what else would I do? To whom else would I entrust the future of humanity? Question: the Empress recently sent a letter to your subjects extolling the virtues of an intuitive approach. How do you respond to that? The Emperor responds, the Empress is revered and renowned throughout the realm, and I would never criticize or even comment on her views. I hold a deep respect and reverence for the Empress. She is one of my many close advisors whose advice I seek when faced with a particularly difficult decision. However, Her feminine approach is not mine and does not work when action is required. My position requires me to be ready to act on a moment's notice, to make a law or to enforce a law. There is not always time to wait or to take a passive approach. Question: can you explain the tools you hold in your hands and what they symbolize? Emperor, in nearly every depiction of myself, I am shown holding a staff in my right hand and an orb in my left. Sometimes the staff is topped by an Egyptian ankh, which is a symbol of life, and the staff is a symbol of action. The orb represents the world I rule. My fiery-colored robes indicate my elemental attribution of fire, denoting aggressive action. Question: would you explain the significance of the carvings decorating your throne? The Emperor says, well, most everyone notices the ram's heads on the arms of the throne, which indicate my astrological attribution of Aries, which in turn connects me to my planetary attribution of Mars, the god of war. I am also associated with the Hebrew letter He, which means window, and the rune Anzus, which means stag. Depending on the artist, you will see me depicted with various animals or symbols indicating the power of my office. Question: have you ever made a decision which you regretted? The Emperor says, I can't imagine anyone in this universe who hasn't at one time or other made a decision which later became a burden of regret. I can say I have not made any such decisions, but there have been a few which have caused me to question my wisdom. The one redemption for me is the fact that as absolute ruler, I can reverse or nullify a bad decision at any time I see fit. Question: when it comes to enforcement, how do you determine when mercy is warranted? The Emperor responds, as you know, I take full responsibility for enforcing the laws and rules which come from my own desk. I take great pride in making laws which are fair and equitable for all the subjects of the realm, and I take an equal pride in enforcing those laws when a subject deigns to disobey my edicts. I am a reasonable ruler. However, I will weigh each case on its own merits and determine if and to what degree mercy will be extended. Question: recently, some of the elemental kings have sought to assert their power and are gaining popularity. How do you respond to them? And the Emperor says, well, there have always been pretenders to the throne, and these upstarts are nothing new to me. Like all those who have come before them, they will be gone in a flash once their subjects learn that they are seeking only fame and fortune. The kings are my vassals, and will continue to be so. So do I lose sleep over their chest thumping? Absolutely not. I have my subjects' welfare to be concerned with, and no time to waste on pretenders. Question: what final thoughts would you like my readers to take away from this press conference? The Emperor says, though you may sometimes see me as a rigid tyrant, I want you all to know that all of my decisions and laws are made with the welfare of all in mind. I make no apologies for misunderstandings of law and will continue to rule as fairly and reasonably as I know how. And that is a peek into the persona of the Emperor. In our second segment of the Oracle Scroll, we look at some other aspects of spirituality, veering off the path of tarot for just a few. And today I wanted to share with you a meditation that I wrote some years ago, and I call it my oneness meditation. It was something that came to me after a meditation class that I had taken, and it just sort of formed in my head as I was driving home. So I do ask this is a meditation, so please don't be driving, don't be using any heavy equipment while you're listening to this. This is a segment to save for later when you can actually relax and enjoy it to its fullest. So the meditation begins as follows. Stand we together as the mighty oaks and willows of the forest. Stand we together in the light and dark of the year. Stand we together in spring's bud and growth. Stand we together in the nakedness of winter's fog. We stand together always in our chosen tradition, drawing power, strength, and connectedness from our Mother who gives us life and our Father who gives us light. Welcome all as sisters and brothers to share this moment, not as a single life, a single tree, but as a forest of lives, which makes all the trees within stronger. Feel your roots growing down into the earth as your feet spread to connect with our Mother. As you connect with the Mother, feel the words, I am the oneness, and the oneness is me. Feel the strength of the Great Mother flowing into your legs and into your trunk as you receive from our Mother, and feel those words once again, I am the oneness, and that oneness is me. Feel your roots growing deeper into the center of the earth until you begin to feel very warm, and you know the heart of the Mother is very near. And as you feel the warmth of the Mother spread into your being, in breathless elation, feel those words once more, I am the oneness, and that oneness is me. Taking only what you need, as the Mother's supply is endless and inexhaustible, taking only the strength, the power, and the love you need to make you feel those words, I am the oneness, and that oneness is me. Stretch your arms skyward as you feel the flush of spring's new growth, and the leaves which will shade and shelter those around you. Stretch your arms skyward to receive the warmth and love of our Father in the sky. Feel the power of our Father the Sun as it transforms you from budding beginner to fully clothed guardian to animals and birds. Feel His warmth and His love, and feel the words, I am the oneness, and the oneness is me. Reaching further still, allowing your beautiful leaves to soak up the warmth of the sun and the silky dew of the early morning. Feel the strength in your trunk as our Father's warmth meets the warmth of our Mother in your heart. And feel the words, I am the oneness, and the oneness is me. As your limbs grow heavier with summer's growth and begin to relax and reach out from your trunk, notice that you have become shelter to new budding plants, many small animals, and countless birds taking shelter in your boughs. It is easy to feel the connection to all life around us as we reach out and feel those words once more. I am the oneness, and that oneness is me. Now you may notice that your own limbs are beginning to brush against the limbs of the trees next to you. Reach out and let your limbs become joined with all the trees around you. And know that this is the connection you seek. And once again, feel those words. I am the oneness, and that oneness is me. Now that you have joined with your fellow trees to form a forest, the connections to the Mother and the Father grow stronger still. Now, you can truly feel the power flowing between the earth below, the sky above, and the trees which surround, support, and protect you. And once again, feel those words, I am the oneness, and the oneness is me. Feeling the strength and love within our forest growing within each of us, and knowing that our collective power is being sent out to all those we love. The connection we feel here in this circle expands to include our neighbors and beyond, until we truly know that we are all one. Now allow yourselves to feel that once more. I am the oneness, and the oneness is me. Stand we together as the mighty oaks and willows of the forest. Stand we together in the light and dark of the year. Stand we together in spring's bud and growth. Stand we together in the nakedness of winter's fog. We stand together always in our chosen tradition, drawing power, strength, and connectedness from our Mother, who gives us life, and our Father, who gives us light. Welcome all as brothers and sisters to share this moment, not as a single life, a single tree, but as a forest of lives, which makes all the trees within stronger. We are the oneness, and that oneness is us. In our third and final segment of the Oracle Scroll, we take questions from our audience and try to pull some cards to see if we can give some guidance. So today we have a question from Thomas. Thomas asks, am I making the decision not to continue a seasonal part-time job for the right reasons? My response is, Dear Thomas, without drawing any cards, I would advise you to be certain you are not making a purely emotional decision. Take the time to make sure you are considering all aspects of this decision. That being said, I drew 3 cards for your question, and they are the Strength card, the 2 of Wands, and finally the 8 of Wands. Well, this is actually quite a potent mixture. To begin, the Strength card encourages you to use your inner strength in considering an appropriate response. This card calls on our mental, emotional, and spiritual strength in dealing with a challenge. Notice it has nothing to do with physical prowess. I think this echoes my opening statement about not allowing pure emotion to rule the day, but rather analyze your response to be sure you are responding from a position of strength. The Strength card also indicates that you have untapped reserves of power which can help you in this difficult, challenging decision. The Wands. Oh, the Wands. My favorite, actually. My favorite suit in the deck. They're the fire element. They're all about motivation, passion, and fire. The appearance of 2 of them here in your reading indicates that something very important to you has been put on indefinite hold to allow you to pursue your busy schedule. The Two of Wands says that you have done your research, your preparation, so now's the time to make the important connections necessary to pursue your dreams. This is exciting work and must be approached with determination and enthusiasm. In equal parts, I might add. The Eight of Wands is a launch pad of sorts with very similar energy to the aces in the deck. The sevens represent creative visualization and planning, so the 8 steps in and says, let's get going. The message of the Eight of Wands is to adjust our focus. Quit looking in any direction, not our destination. We'll never get where we're going by constantly reviewing what is in our mirror. Looking forward with a clear vision of our desired destination is the only way forward. So in summary, I would say, to be absolutely certain that your decision is based in logic rather than emotion, that's first. And then make sure that this is a move which will accelerate your advancement and success without being concerned with the issues surrounding your former position. Never look back. In many ways, this situation could be a blessing in disguise. Without the challenge presented by your former position, would you be ready to leap into your own business? Ready to leap into your own venture? From this point forward, you will only be served by looking forward. Any connection to the previous situation must be concluded, never allowed to occupy your mind or attention. Finally, your projects which have been languishing in the background will be very happy to receive attention. I get a distinct feeling that they have been neglected for far too long, and it's time to reconnect with your passion. There will always be challenges to deal with, so don't let this one get so big that you are once again frightened into inactivity. I wish you the best of luck, Thomas. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 6 of the Oracle Scroll. This is a project that has turned out to be a lot of fun, and we have started to make some plans for future episodes that are coming up soon, involving some of our associates in the spiritual community locally. So it's just going to keep getting more fun as we go. So again, thank you very much, and please spread the word. Share the podcast with anyone you think may be interested. And we do appreciate any assistance and any feedback you may want to offer. If you have comments or critiques or even a question for the readers, please send them along to the oraclescroll@gmail.com. And we appreciate your continued listening to our podcast. And thanks again. Join us next time on episode 7. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Oracle Scroll. Find us on Facebook at the Oracle Scroll. If you wish to send comments, suggestions, or requests, please address them to theoraclescroll@gmail.com.